What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi. Now, today we've got some data mines, not a huge amount, and because of that, we're actually going to do the Before You Summon video at the same time. So hang tight, guys, this might be a little bit longer format video, but it's going to be chock full of information for you. The main thing to know is the new Swimsuit banners are actually coming in next week. Tonight's banners are going to be the rerun banners. Now, these units, like I said, they are getting rebalances. We didn't have the information yesterday. I actually have the info today, and we'll talk about it. But personally, I still do just like this banner better. I will say if you don't have these units are always useful. Haru may have run out of usefulness a little bit, but you know, I still see situations in which I'd use her. Lena, who absolutely did not need a buff, still got one. So we'll cover all that here shortly in a moment. But this is a rerun banner. Because of that, on both of these banners, every odd pull is guaranteed half price. Even pulls are guaranteed 4-star, but they are full price. So instead of being, you know, 4,000 per draw, it's 3,000. Free Iris, I should say. Now, is it worth drawing? Rerun banners typically kind of not, unless you really are trying to bolster a team. Though I will say I do like what Lena does. Now, I did kind of say I thought these might be 3-time only, but that was actually more for the banners coming out next week. I wouldn't be surprised if the paid on those is 3-time only. These, because the reruns are going to be 1-time only. And that's kind of frankly okay. I mean, they are rerun banners. You probably should have had them. And all these units are in the general pool. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. Honestly. Like, if you don't have them, you'll eventually get them. It's just, like, the simple fact of the matter. And I really don't know how much usefulness they're going to have unless they do some real big buffing to their teams. But they're here and we'll talk about them, okay? Here are the exchange drop items for the rerun of the tail. Remember, the reruns of the tails generally have some pretty good stuff. I will actually go back up to the main page. It'll be a little easier to see. That seashell is the small, that's the large, and that coral, or I'm sorry, medium. Little seashell, small, larger seashell, medium, and that coral over there is the large item. These are the items that you're going to use for the general exchange. Nothing too crazy there. Pretty easy to understand. Most everything we get here is really just talking about the rerun tail. There's not a huge amount of data to really talk about. Why is 80s Vesta Part 2 here? Weird. That's strange. I do not know why that's in there. I mean, unless it's just a new banner for the story. Remember, you can, if you didn't read the stories for the anniversary, you can always go back in and you can read them through the story digest. They're all still there and available. They might have just upgraded or updated the banner for that to no longer say, you know, finally here with audio or whatever it said before. Okay. Not 100% certain what this ring is. I mean, it looks like the Ring of Power, obviously. Really not completely certain. There's no real major reason to have it. Unless somebody's getting a weapon that hasn't had one. I really don't know what the deal is with this. I'll be honest with you. Everything, like I said, everything is about the rerun, so I don't know why that would be there. Because we don't get a gacha with a rerun. That is one downside to this, guys. We're not going to get the gacha. It's literally just going to be the exchange items. But the nice part is you will be able to get tickets as you farm up the items for the exchange. So don't neglect that. Okay? That's pretty much that. That's the data mines. Now let's jump into the Before You Summon details, because this could be pretty interesting. All right? So Sea Breeze Princess Eyes. So here's all of her stats. We're going to pay attention to this as the max limit break. This is what we always pay attention to anyway. So max HP and MP didn't change. Strength didn't change. Endurance didn't change. Dex didn't change. It's just agility got a pretty respectable buff up to 1082. This is, of course, for the Sea Breeze Eyes. Okay? Now, we'll start with these. I like to do the skills before I do the essays. Skill 1. Okay? Before, it was a foes plural, water resistance down 35%, guard rate down 30% for 5 turns, and self plus 2 actions low water physical attack. It becomes foes plural, critical rate, penetration rate, and guard rate, and water resist down 35%. So they added critical and penetration there, which is really nice. Self plus 3 actions low water physical attack, that's still the same. The MP cost did go up a little bit, went up from 32 to 47, but honestly, it's not the end of the world. Skill 2, Splashing Sweep. Foes, plural, fast, high water physical attack, damage received attack all and single targets plus 20%. That was always a really great sack skill, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit. Let's see what they've adjusted it to. Foes, plural, fast, high water physical attack with temporary strength boost and high critical rate, damage received attack all and single target 20%. So they added the temporary strength boost and high critical rate. It's not enough to save the unit, in my opinion. And we have better sacks now that do these things. So 34 MP cost, 41 MP cost, not really a big deal. Parasol Smash. High water physical attack damage, 40% per each target's skill effect that increases damage received type single target. So in other words, if you have that on the adventure and the assist side, that's going to give you an 80% buff. This becomes foe high water physical attack damage 50%, but still I don't think that's enough to save it. Now it is nice. The water team did get a respectable buff there. And if you have, if you're lacking single target units, great, but I wouldn't chase this unit just for that. Okay, let's go take a look at SA. Went from foes, ultra water physical attack with temporary strength boost and high penetration rate and water resist down 50%, to foes, ultra physical attack with temporary strength boost and ultra penetration rate and water resist down 50% for 4 turns instead of 3. So, not the greatest thing. I don't know if it's too much to write home about. I'm still going to maintain, unless you're really desperate for a water unit, pass. She's going to be alright, but she's not going to be groundbreaking. Let's be honest. Okay. Passives. Fire resistance 35% when attacking and countering regular physical attack. A foe with a water element. Still the same. Strength dex 30% becomes strength agility and dex 30%. Guard rate 30% stays the same. Critical damage 15 stays the same. And Aqua Killer stays the same. Let's look at Haruhime. Okay. Swimsuit Haruhime. So before and after adjustment. HP is 2620. That remains the same. MP 2219 stays the same. Strength 1662, Endurance 372, Dex goes from 550 up to 715, and that's really the only change there. And then, of course, I'm sorry, I was reading the top stats. The maximum break goes from 625 to 790, but still not the end of the world. And that, I believe, is maximum break before Hero Ascension, so, adjust accordingly. Let's look at these skills, okay? Skill 1, Ally, Strength plus 30%, Water attack damage plus 35% for 5 turns. Self plus 2 actions, low water physical attack becomes Allies, Fast, the fast skill now, Strength, Dex, and Water attack damage plus 35%. That's nice. For all allies, that's nice. And Self plus 3 actions, low water physical attack. That goes up to a 45 MP cost, but 38 MP cost. I will say that has been very useful in the past, but currently, I don't know how useful it's going to be. Skill 2. Foes, plural, super water physical attack with temporary strength boost, ultra and counter rate, and allies 20% HP regen for 2 turns. That actually only changes to a 35% HP regen for 2 turns. It's not the end of the world. MP cost goes from 44 up to 50. Once again, you're probably never going to notice the difference. Shoreline Waves, high water physical attack damage 40% per each self water attack damage buff. That goes up to 50%, and the MP cost goes from 27 up to 30. Once again, I don't think anybody's going to look at that and go, that's crazy good and I need that. Just saying. Cascade Fan, foes, plural, ultra water physical attack with temporary strength boost and ultra critical rate. And allies, water attack damage plus 50% for 3 turns. Now, here's where it actually gets really interesting. Listen to me and hear me. If you did not pull the Bell unit that gives you 100% water attack damage, this is why you may want Haruhime. Ultra Water physical attack with temporary strength boost, ultra critical rate, and allies water attack damage plus 90% for 3 turns. It's not the 100% that Bell does, but it is another spectacular move. So, if you lack the Anniversary Bell, here's a good backup. You're going to be lacking about 10% damage overall, but that's not going to be enough to deter this team. This team is still going to hold their own. Believe me. Now, the only thing is Bell is a spectacular hitter on top of it. I don't think Haruhime is going to be able to take that role, but the SA will make it worthwhile. Water Manifestation. Fire resist plus 35%. When countering and attacking, regular physical attack with water element, that doesn't change. Strength and agility 30% becomes strength, agility, and dex 30%. 8% HP and MP regen, that stays the same. Damage 50%, and Aqua Killer all stay the same. So the only real difference is they add dex to Nimble. So, good stuff. Blazing Fist Lunar. Let's go down here to her main skills. Oh, I'm sorry, the numbers. Numbers are important. So, max HP 3895, same. Max MP 264, same. Strength goes from 2023 up to 2090. Dex goes from 743 up to 770. And agility goes from 1031 to 1069. I don't think these numbers are... They're good, but I don't know, like, the overall relevancy, how much more she's actually going to be able to do. Not including all the big buffs the water team got, just in general. I don't think she's going to have enough of a substantial change to really justify the difference. So, once again, I'm not impressed. But they are trying to keep her relevant, and I can give them that. Flexi! Skill 1. Fast, counter rate, and heal plus 30%. And magic resist plus 35% for 5 turns. Self, strength plus 65% for 5 turns. Becomes... Fast, strength plus 70%, nice. Allies counter rate, heal, physical resist, and magic resist. All allies, I want to say. Counter rate, heal, physical resist, magic resist plus 35%. That is a spectacular sack skill. And I will tell you this right now. If you do not have one of these lunars, you will want to have at least one at your disposal. Trust me on that. That is a spectacular skill. That skill is fantastic. Knuckle Part. This is skill 2. Foes plural, high water physical attack with temporary strength boost and ultra and counter rate. Physical resist down 30% and counter rate and heal down 35%. Pretty straightforward stuff. That becomes a super water physical attack with temporary strength boost, ultra and counter rate, heal, and physical resist down 35% for 4 turns. With self plus 2 actions, low water physical attack, so they add the extra actions on there. That's super nice. MP cost goes from 44 up to 67. That's actually a substantial change. But though notice that that Flexi actually went from 56 down to 43. That's interesting. This actually went up like the rest have. And that kind of makes sense. Elbow Crush. Foes plural. So she has an ally skill and 2 foes skills. High water physical attack damage plus 30% per each target's physical reduction skill and ultra critical rate. That becomes 60%, and that is super substantial. That hit is going to be crushing. I actually want to try that out. I really, really, really want to try this unit out now. Lunar, I might have to max Limit Break to see what happens. I actually really like that skill. Her SA. Foes, ultra water physical attack. Damage 50% per each target's physical resist reduction skill. And ultra and guard rate becomes 60%. Which actually would be like a 120% hit versus a 100% hit. So it is a substantial increase. I would love to see how she does after after all these take effect and all the buffs we got. She might be pretty intense. Okay. Water Manifestation, fire resist plus 35% with attacking a foe with the water physical attack. This doesn't change. That stays the same. Strength, agility, and dex 25% becomes strength, agility, and dex 30%. That's very nice. Counter damage 50% doesn't change. Damage 10% upon critical and penetration doesn't change. And Aqua Killer does not change. So, pretty straightforward stuff, but she probably has one of the best buffs of anybody. Just saying. Now, it is worth noting that the assists do not look like they got any buffs at all, so this is all about the adventurers. So don't expect any changes on the assists, apparently. Okay, Lena, this is the one I've wanted to see. This is the one that's really interesting, and I already see something here that I really like. But let's go in. Double tap. Self, magic dex, and light attack damage plus 60% for 4 turns. Self 3, low light magic attack foe, singular with critical rate. Becomes self, magic dex, and light attack damage plus 65% for 4 turns. Very nice. And 3 additional actions, low light magic attack. So, very nice. Actually, the extra 5% will make a huge difference. The MP cost is not something I'm worried about. 24 up to 32 is laughable. One way straight. Foe singular, fast highlight magic. So this is a record buster unit. Fast highlight magic attack with magic resist and light resist down 35%. That is pretty good. That doesn't look like it changes at all, except it just adds 4 turns instead of 3 turns. Whatever. This is the one I was really interested in. Foe singular super light magic attack damage plus 80% per each self magic buff skill and magic buffs will be removed afterwards with a 102 MP cost. Becomes slow super light magic attack damage plus 80% per each self magic buff skill. Magic buff will be removed afterward. Same skill. They just cut the cost from 102 MP down to 88 MP. That is substantial. That is a huge, huge, huge savings. Anybody who's run this and tried to keep this up knows that's going to be specifically easier. Significantly easier. When I say that, I mean like you might be able to get this off 3 or 4 times. You'll be able to get this off almost twice as many, especially if you have MP regen on the team. Okay, Seaside Love Story. Foe singular ultralight magic attack damage plus 80% per each self magic buff skill. And light resist down 50%. Remember that attack is actually pretty much going to become a 160% attack. Seaside Love Story. Foe singular ultralight magic attack damage plus 80% per each self. Magic buff skill. Light resist down 50% for 4 turns. So it goes from 2 turns to 4 turns. I told you guys from the start, she did not need a really big buff. She still hits insanely well. So I really have to test her out and see if she can hold her own against the water team. That would be the big question mark here with Lena. So after Lena and Luna get their buffs, we'll have to try them out on stream tonight and see how they do. I don't know if I have Lunar maxed, but if I do not, I will try to do that tonight. But for now, guys, let me know your thoughts on all these units. These units are actually really interesting. And notice it doesn't look like Lena got any buffs on her passives, and frankly, she probably didn't need it. Not her numbers either. Numbers and passives did not get a buff. Interesting. Very interesting. But once again, she's a crazy unit. She doesn't need it. Like, comment, share all the good stuff, and I'll be back with more Danmachi for you guys really soon.